But what map will we be playing on? That's our map veto. Reminder as well that we have removed the auto bans, so maps that are played in the previous day can be played again. It's just the standard. We have 7 maps. You ban one after the other until we have one left, and we're gonna go to Clubhouse between G2 and Rogue. It's up to Rogue to decide between Consulate and Club, and they went for Consulate. So fair enough. Clubhouse, a strong map, I guess, for both teams. It depends on how Rogue end up playing it. I would give a bit more of a side to G2, but again, that was off of information of old G2. It's completely different style of play now. It's Jaeger main esports now.
Well, you also got to keep in mind that the last time either of these teams played Clubhouse online was against each other. And Rogue did manage to come out ahead on that. It was a 7-5, I believe. So, like you said, though, that was old G2. So you don't really know how it'll go down. But if it goes down like last time, then it's Rogue winning. What do you guys think, though?
Yeah, that's the big question. And it's 84%.
Wow.
So many people believe in the G2 squad, and I completely understand it. It's completely new. No real team has tried this before, where it's a lineup that, we started seeing this with CSGO, for example, by mid to late 2015, and it moved on like this until 2017. And yeah, it happens. You have to deal with it, and it's a big trial, not only for G2, but many teams that are watching right now and waiting. Is this something that's viable? How are the roles going to be like? That's really the biggest questions on everybody's mind. How are they going to be fighting to see who plays Ashe and Jaeger? How's that going to go? Is everybody, have they convinced the developers, which of course we all know is the full team led by Bikini Body and the Russian Badger, which means they might have a chance here, G2, to get a full Ashe lineup and then a smoke on the other side, attack or defense. It's all possible. Maverick first ban, Capitao the second one here off the board. G2 will ban the first defender as well.
Ace is obviously either surprised or offended by the Capitao ban, but is definitely a strong operator on this map, especially when Maverick himself is out of commission. Dealing with that cash wall is a little bit easier to do so if you have Capitao in play. Echo being banned, no surprise here. Very likely to see Mira next as well, but you never know. Could be the Maestro. So definitely be an interesting matchup, though, either way between these teams. Yep, there's Mira as expected. So overall, nothing too surprising in the ban phase. But it would have been pretty funny with the Rogue if they had gone for a ban on say Ashe or Jaeger.
If they banned Jaeger, honestly, if they banned Jaeger, it would have been hilarious. First of all, and I know Zoronic is watching somewhere in the chat, and he's gonna be like, "Yes, finally, someone actually bans Jaeger." Because
we have Wamai as a replacement, so it's possible to do so now.
So yeah, that's the big question. It's not a spoiler, I guess, from the first game, but spoiler alert, no matter what, if anybody's watching VODs. But in game 1 between Empire and Na'Vi, we didn't see a Wamai, we didn't see a Kali. Might be a map where we might see it here today, but hey, it's all up in the air. There's no Thatcher ban, so the possibilities of seeing Kali are slim to none. And then with Wamai, it just depends on how you double things up, maybe on cash. That's the question. Goyo is such a great operator to have, and you can have the Clyde as well to play with, which is exactly what Rogue are running with the double TCSG lineup. It's difficult to explain why Wamai would be a better pick than this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Although, I have to say, over the last half of the season, while we saw quite a bit of Goyo on this particular bomb site, I don't think it was nearly as effective as the other bomb sites. Still, a good operator. You see all the shield placements, very effective in terms of giving the ability to bunker down like they're going to be doing, because it is such a turtle site. You do want to have all those extra shields, so that way when push comes to shove towards the end, you've got a lot better defensive positions. A little bit of aggressive positioning by Aces, but I'm not surprised to see that come out from him. But again, we saw only a little bit of Legion play last match, and it didn't necessarily do a ton for them. Karzeka was definitely less effective on Legion than he was on Mozzie. And personally, as someone who's now kind of switched from Legion to Mozzie myself, as a former Legion main, just because, he lost a little bit of effectiveness with his nerf to his gadget.
Yeah, definitely not as fun to play as well, but that's something different, So there's Citizen walking on in, destroying the barricade. Again, a suppressor on the Bearing 9. Not something you usually see, right?
Certainly, everyone has their weird little quirks. Certainly seen some interesting gun loadouts from Fox, for example. So everyone has their own little tweaks they like to make. As long as they're effective with it, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, and that's the nice thing about having all these different attachments. Did hear one goo mine go off. Wonder whether it was something that actually gave them intel or not, though, because the range nerf. Rise has taken a lot of damage in the meantime, which is not a great start for a site where you're usually turtling down quite a bit to be that low on health already. I just gotten caught off guard there in blue, but he's going to rotate back to site now. No Doc to heal him up, but that's okay. He's just going to play the usual spot behind Generator now.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe spot there until the very end of the round where the attackers will be pushing in to try to take you on. Zofia knows what's up there, and there's Kantaraketi using dot sight, and well, there's the thermite being used. You were thinking who's going to play hard sport or
wow,
Pengu.
nicely done.
Yeah, that's 2 of those charges now removed. Are the hatches open even? That's the big question. At least we know the one in Moto will not be. And well, you still have the Havana, but she has only 1 more set of Exkyros. What's the hatch? What's the situation on the hatch in kitchen? That's the question now.
Yeah, that's what I like to see, because that's going to be the big thing here. And I seriously doubt they've opened it already. It does look like, I think it looked like it was closed there for a second, but I can just barely see it. Kanto's struggling to deal with this weakened Rise behind Generator.
Hicks is going to be able to fall back down to 50 HP, and yeah, unfortunately we're not able to tell what's happening there by the kitchen hatch. Pengu's going to walk on down, take a goo mine and eat it. You don't take damage from that initial spike, and there's the nitro from Hicks on a Pengu, finally eliminated, and at least the hatch is open. That's something that you can use as G2 with Hicks and Rise having taken a lot of damage. Virtue's going to try to walk in and plant relatively safely inside of the armory as you see the drops down onto the site. Diffuser's going to be planted in the second here. Citizen and Uno will find a kill each, and 1 more for Citizen as it's all working so well for G2, trapping Corey and Hicks inside of Church. 1 more kill here for Kantaraketi in a 4v1. Hicks has got ammo plenty, but is it going to be enough? The Goyo shield is going to be popped right behind him. More fire being laid down his way by the rotation hole that his teammate opened earlier in the round of the prep phase. There's the peak, there's the pick. Virtue working well, and yeah, seems like all you need are people to fire their guns, and G2 are firing on all cylinders on round 1. Usually, taking the site is a bit of a difficulty downstairs in Church. There was none of that, even a bit of mistake there from the Thermite, because the COD played it perfectly to destroy the charges.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me to see of anyone, it to be Pengu to be on the Thermite, because he's definitely the most flexible of the player on the team. I'd say the second most probably being Uno, who's actually going to potentially be on the Monty, but no, he's going to switch off to that Thatcher. The Wamai, though, looks like it might get stuck here, so we might see our very first Wamai here in Pro League. There's only 4 seconds left or so, so yeah, we're going to see it along with the Jaeger and the Goyo. So this is going to be interesting because they're going to be using this to help deny utility from stopping them from Bandit or Kaid tricking the wall. They're going to have the extra shields as well here. And then, of course, the Wamais are going to stop the ability to clear those shields easily. So this is going to be very utility dump heavy strategy in terms of defense, making sure that they're not able to really just hit it from the outside. But then again, you just talked about this is a gunning team in terms of the players. So at the end of this round, they might just come in swinging without necessarily worrying so much about utility.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll be interesting to see how it goes down.
You're talking about the utility dump. The entire strategy that Rogue has right now is don't get those walls open. Do not allow G2 to do it. And if they do, make sure that they're losing players for it. Make sure they're losing a ton of time for it. That's the whole point. You know, using the Wamai Jaeger combination, it works well if you can do this sort of thing correctly and burn as much time as humanly possible. Now, G2 are going to come in, and of course the base problem here is how do we get that wall open? If you can sneak somebody down below and into lounge and break something open from below with a shotgun or, you know, with a Zofia, then you have your way in. However, without any of that, you're going to struggle. At least there's EMPs. There's something that's going to save you. And look at that shield. Because there's a shield and a barricade, it blocks any Zofia stuns. You have to destroy the shield and destroy the barricade behind it to actually be able to pull the bandit off. And there you go. Yeah, it's off. It's a bit too late. He's going to be able to trick in for the second one. No, the stun actually went through. It was perfectly timed there by the Zofia. And well done, Kantaraketi. He's going to be able to push the bandit back. And there's a Goyo shield down in Garage.
And that's the danger of putting a Goyo shield on the catwalk instead of the normal shields. Of course, now he cannot rotate away from that position very far. Now, of course, they weren't in position to capitalize on that too much, so it's probably not a huge deal. But I like Virtue here going for potential flank onto the construction site or stopping any rotates out. So far, a much more effective round here from G2 in terms of utility, at least getting the wall open. But now they've got to worry about all the other utility denial inside the site. Those other Goyo shields they haven't dealt with yet. A lot of these potential runouts. So much flank watch happening here from G2. It's just almost nothing happening because of how both these teams are waiting for the other one to make a mistake right now.
Yep, so far so good for G2. What a shot from Kento Raketti, finding the head of Rise. You can come in at whatever time you would like. Hicks has taken 50% HP damage there. Again, the whole strategy from Rogue is don't let them in. And yeah, they kind of let them in. This is the opposite of the meme.
Well, they're definitely going to have to force their way in here. As of course, again, the utility dump is problematic for them to deal with. All those Wamais are going to be continuing to generate quite a few of those throughout the round. But Hicks does manage to at least get one kill into Kanto. Evens things up a little bit, although Hicks a bit worse for the wear. So 40 seconds left, though. This is actually not too bad for Rogue position-wise to be in, as you're still seeing players like Pego having to kind of rotate around here to help alleviate some of the pressure after the loss of Kanto.
They're jumping down now as Thermite trying to go for the gunfights, and there's a utility that's at least played around those discs. There's a grenade up, there's nothing to stop, and there's nobody actually laying down at the bottom of the window. Rips is going to be spotted for just a moment there. There's barely any time. Oh, this could be perfect for the Wamai, but no! Virtue's going to turn around and slap him down. Rips is out. Corey with one more on Uno Maestro, though, and Ace is going to find Pengu, all going Rogue's way. As they're finally going to beat G2 into the site and shut them down one by one, playing for time. That's the whole point. If you're going to burn time, make sure it's a lot of it. At least that worked well for Rogue. The initial strategy of we're not going to let them in didn't work because it was perfectly timed from G2. But the pressure from multiple angles just took too long from G2.
Yeah, that's basically it. You saw the having to rotate around, figure out their approach in terms of how they wanted to actually attack, but they were also spending a lot of time just waiting for members of Rogue to get aggressive. And Rogue smartly didn't. They played longer angles inside. You saw that towards the very end there, some of those kills being a bit farther away, and they were hitting their shots. That's what really counted at the end of the day, is Rogue managing to hit those heads when they needed to against a team, as we've mentioned a few times, of strong fraggers. See if they could pull off a win onto this site this time in terms of Church. They are going to bring a little bit different strategy here. They're going with what is likely going to be the quote-unquote SSG strat of playing with the castle, the mute and the vigil and the Mozzie, deny as much intel as possible, force the drone for a long period of time, use the castle barricades to help protect rotates and positioning. This has been very, very effective for teams like SSG. They are going to also have the goo mines to help support it, but maybe not as strongly as in the past.
Yeah, I mean, the SSG setup is basically immensely strong. I mean, for people that really want to hear the breakdown of it, highly recommend Reaper Ian on YouTube, on Twitter. He went all through it, explaining how it goes, and it makes a lot of sense. You bring the Mozzie, bring the mute, you deny a lot of information, burn off time, and then shut them down once they come in because they starve for information. It's something that G2 kind of relied on when they're pushing in from the attacking side a couple of rounds ago. And now, because they'll be even more starved for info, might be something that would, work well. In the end, you still have to shoot heads, and G2 are just better at it in that very first round. Going in for the attack in Church, G2 will start cleaning up the map here from top down. A lot of utility had already been put up here by Rogue on gym bedroom area, so you're going to have to deal with it. And I think we see Rise here up top. You see all of the utility that's been placed around. It's just bait, switch, and draw as much utility and time off of G2's side.
Well, at least they brought the sledge, so they're able to open some castle barricades up without costing them anything. But it's the ones that are on the interior, on the bar side, that are really going to be the problems to deal with. They are starting to pressure here, but lost gunfight coming out from Kanto is certainly not going to help things. Now there's some utility loss as well, as I doubt he'd used it all. And then a nice C4 into Virtue does get traded back by Uno, but that's That's already cost G2 a lot here, down to a 3v4 in a scenario where they're fighting against SSG-style defense upstairs. And it's just a huge advantage for Rogue here. Yes, only about half the round has been burned off, but now they've lost a fair bit of fragging power and utility. Oh, nice attempt by Pengu here on this tight angle. Does do a bit of damage, but not quite enough to finish it off. Corey's still going to be alive there.
Yeah, he's falling back, just expecting a nitro cell to be thrown into him. Uno will take a bit of damage from the goo mine, but he's going to win out on one gunfight. The Legion is going to strike back, and Hicks is going to drop him down on the floor. Uno can be picked up here as the Thermite is trying to do some busy work and take down that reinforcement. Pengu will shut down Corey, though, in the meantime, turning it into practically a 2 versus 2 as Uno is still on the floor. Hibana checking everywhere for potential rotations before you drop down on the site. You're very starved and limited in information. There's the Legion, though, from behind. There's the drop and the finisher. The knife from Hicks will take down Pengu. Going for the second, though, is not successful at all. Citizen will shut down Hicks. It's all up to Rips right now to stand still and wait for the drop from the hatch. 25 seconds left, and a sortation from the Hibana might be able to save the sledge here on the entry. Flashbang's been used, and there's the save. They know exactly where they're at. A bit of damage done here from Rips, putting down Citizen and Uno low on HP. Any utility to be used, doesn't matter. They're going to go for the plant. It's all up to Rips to move. And does he have any impacts? Yes, he does. 2 of them. Rips is going to find 1 kill. The diffuser's been planted. The Hibana turns around, and they're going for the 1v1 fight. Equal pretty much on HP between both of them. There's an impact. Another one is going to sail out. The Hibana's dropped on the floor, and Rips is going to clutch it. The 2K here on the defense for the Vigil, as Rips will take it down. It's Rogue recovering now. So close, but it works out for him. Anyways, you can't create a lineup, $1 million lineup of Jaeger mains. Well, it's not going to matter when nobody's playing the Ashe either on the attack. Well done by Rogue on the retake.
Definitely. Also swinging a bit wide for Citizen. I think he probably overdid that a little bit in terms of peeking into the hallway door so wide when he's got the cover of the boxes. I understand he also wants to give himself a little bit of ability to rotate around to some extent if there's no one there, that he can kind of move positions so he's not as predictable, but at the same time just not really winning that gunfight. And it was down to him to try and pull it off, and of course he's one of the new members of the team, but it was still a pretty good round overall for G2, given the early advantage that Rogue had, getting it down to that 2v1 situation like that. I think some of that was also, I don't think they were sure that they downed Uno, because you can't necessarily tell all the time unless you see him drop. Because you have to keep in mind, for those of you who are not familiar with Pro League settings, you don't have points turned on, so you don't see the notifications for things like downing someone. You're not going to get that little 50-point notifier or whatever, so you don't necessarily know unless you see it or have some kind of sound confirmation that someone is downed. In that case, they're going to be having to be worrying about Uno pressuring them that whole time. Because of that, they're able to get around to pick him back up. So little small things like that really can help. But at the end of the day, Rogue did manage to pull that round off. Now they're going to have to go to Gym, though. Now they finally won both Cash and Church. Of course, Castle always important for this. Kind of surprised they didn't go with the Womai for this one, though.
Objective is to locate a bomb.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, this might be completely worth it, right? You have to stay in a singular position most of the time, so it's very possible to just, sit there and use the discs to your advantage and just keep throwing them out. It's a huge range on the discs as well, so Whammy definitely has advantages, and there are plenty on this map specifically.
Yeah, especially if you're playing like one of those like Oyo shield heavy strats, which they're not doing. We've seen a lot of teams do that, where they put a lot of shields, usually 4 to 5 inside sight, to really hold things off. In this case, they're looking to find Eagles instead, and Citizen, trying to make up for last round, finds one here in the strip club, takes him down pretty easily, and that is the Castle. Not a big loss, as I imagine he's already gotten all his barricades up.
Bomb located by
Pengu stick it on this Thermite.
There's the Jaeger watching, and yeah, Aces at any point in time can walk around. You can hear that music, but I don't know how much is going to be helping Aces downstairs.
I think he wants to put on a little show in there if someone will come push him.
Hey man, I can definitely see that happening. And it's going to be rotating back to site though, bit by bit. It's all about drawing as much time again off of G2. That's really how it works, no matter the site. At least part of the wall here has been opened up from Jacuzzi. Virtue taking a lot of damage from the lounge, and he's still somehow alive. Cantor Rickety as well, down to around 40 HP. And both Aces and Corey, the duo here from Germany, are trying to fight on back. They're trying to shoot at the feet here to maybe shut down Virtue, who's barely alive, but Uno will respawn and Rips with one more kind. onto Uno for the refrag, but the site is actually compromised. The Thermite's already in, and now it's only Hicks and Corey that are left alive. This is potential plant territory here for G2, and Pengu will go for it. Does he know where it's at? Yes, he does. And as Pengu falls back to plant in safer position, it's Citizen to find the kill. G2 fighting back.
Yeah, that retake strategy was not necessarily the way to go. As I said, they weren't going with the shield heavy strategy. They were trying to play a bit further back on the site. And then once they were able to take site control there, they just weren't able to retake. The problem with trying to retake on that site is those stairs. You can see how much of a problem main stairs are to try and get up, because if they've got the hot tub wall open, which they're undoubtedly going to do as part of the attack, you're very likely to get cut off from rotating to logistics, rotating to gym, or rotating to bedroom. You've lost your ability to rotate to 3 different rooms from that single set of stairs unless you want to come up the cache stairs. I mean, I suppose if Oryx was available, you'd be able to jump up hatch as well, but he's not. So because of that, retake is really difficult on that site. I would hope if they go to play it again, they play a little bit different strategy, but I understand you don't want to be super boxed in. We are going to see the whammy again, as we like to call him, for cash. Of course, it is not pronounced whammy, it's whammy, but I like the think he's got a little bit of whammy in his pocket. Whammy.
That's
whammy.
It's hilarious.
It's too bad that's not the sound like the shield makes.
Pretty
Not the shield, but the discs, I mean.
Actually, imagine when it triggered. That's the kind of noise that will come out. That'll be hilarious. Anywho's, same prep again. And it's the same setup. We'll see the Goyo, though, come out. So, they were running a mute last time? Were they? Rogue?
I'm trying to think. I think they might have been.
5 seconds left before insertion.
I'm not sure, but here it is. There's
the rest of the lineup's
Goyo.
the same, though.
Attackers must locate and
You can do as much as you want with that Goyo there, and we're seeing the shields being put around. All of them have already been deployed. Rips is probably going to be staying inside of Garage for the meantime, so potential and possibilities all about for Rogue. Habana's going to be using the X-Kairos at the top of the Garage doorway, and it's going to give you that straight angle all the way into the vaulted window. Coming into service from Garage, so that's an old strategy and it works just fine. Maverick's been banned, so you won't be seeing any of those Maverick tricks that we've been so used to throughout Invitational. And there's the Zofia trying to stun Aces in the back, but he's staying alive. He's holding on very well. Pengu, oh, the perfect timing!
Well baited.
Very well baited there. Pengu's gonna switch over sides. Can you go for it? Should be possible. Yep. Perfect timing from Aces. Man, this is just working so well for Rogue. The panda tricks. And the problem is, you can't do anything against it from the windows. There's whammy this all around.
Yeah, obviously the cap out would have been nice to have, but that was banned, so they're not going to have that extra bit of utility to deny Aces. They could try and hit him from below in Lounge, but they've got to worry about Hicks down there first.
There's another Nitro cell. Is it worth it for the drone? Completely.
No.
Completely.
Yeah, until Yan is in, right?
Basically. Who knows? Maybe in the future she'll be huge pick in Pro League. I would not be surprised. That is for sure. Pengu will keep on droning here to make sure there's no flanks being prepared by Rogue, as Rich is going to jump in. Make sure you open this rotation from logistics. Very well done there from the Buck. This is the checklist. This is what you're supposed to do, because we've seen it with other teams, even at SI. You get trapped there, you didn't open the rotation on logistics and the construction, and suddenly there's a nitro cell flying your way, or a smoke canister, and then you die. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, the run out! Aces is gonna get one, and he falls back. There's no answer. The Zofia a bit too slow. Perfect. Perfect from Rogue.
So little time left to make this execute happen, especially when you're now man down and getting denied.
Oh, one more from Citizen, though. That's the answer, finally, but it might be a bit too slow there, Devin. It's 30 seconds left. Buck's going to be using in all his shotgun shells. Grenade's going to be played. No, he's actually going to fall back. There's no information to use. Goyo shields have been popped inside of Cash. And Nick's going to rotate back into Garage and promptly get shot down. Virtuous Citizen and Pengu in the meantime will find a kill each. Diffusers being ferried over as Kento Kenny will find the last. They just entered the site in Cash. And Rogue just let it all go. They got cornered.
Great push there at the end. It looks like they had a little bit of trouble being able to even get in the door, and still managed to push in regardless. And that might have been something that was slowing them down from taking down Lounge from below. But nonetheless, a great push overall from G2. The utility game didn't go nearly as well for them that round as it did the previous attack on a cache. So the fact they were able to pick it up just off of frags is part of the reason you see them be the quote-unquote super team they are now. But overall, Rogue are putting up a really good fight. It's just, it seems like when they start to lose control of the site, or they start to lose control of an area where they can back each other up, they're losing a lot of these 1v1 fights. The G2 are then able to collapse on them, which is, of course, what you want as a team on attack, is to be able to collapse on anyone who's solitary. Much harder to do, of course, on this bomb site because everyone's pretty much going to be downstairs. They're not going for the castle, SSG, heavy roam strat this time. Which, to be fair, worked for them last time, but you don't want to try it again so soon and have them be ready for it.
I mean, so far, this lineup, from operator-wise, from Rogue is definitely showing up, and we might not have been seeing Goyo's effect in terms of kills, but over the past few rounds, the Goyo has definitely been slowing things down from G2. Positioning of those shields is more often than not the biggest deal. It's not just about getting kills, it's about zoning, right, Devin? And I know that you can talk about Goyo shields all day, all night.
Yeah, one thing you got to consider in an environment where there's Whammy and Wamai and Jaeger available is sometimes you just need to push past a Goyo shield. Like, you need to drone to make sure there's no one behind it. And then if you know no one's going to pop that where you're at and you have the ability to move past it as opposed to being near it, then it's relatively safe to do so. You can move past it and they're not in a position to pop it because you're not near it anymore when you get successfully past it. Sometimes that's the way you have to play it. You can sledge it and manage to barely get away with that without taking any damage, but that's still such a risky thing to do. I think you're going to see a lot of abandoned Goyo shields, both from defense and offense, in terms of not dealing with them, just because of the huge utility problem that the attackers are going to run into. Luckily for them, though, they still have bullets, and that's the only utility they need in some of these rounds.
So there's the Habana trying to prepare herself to open this hatch up here.
Looking for cams, spots it.
That's what you're looking for, just in case this nectar cell is being prepped and Citizen's going to walk out. He knows there might be a response very quickly, a riposte. Rise is going to be the one to engage. He's going to take down one, rushing to the Zofia. Kenter Ricchetti taking around 40 damage there as he wins out the gunfight, but was it worth it? You're losing a buck before you're able to destroy the majority of the floorboards there. It is not great. At least you have some breaching shards to use, and because you got the hatch, it kind of works well at the minute half mark, but that was a bit too expensive for what it's worth.
It wasn't a bad play from Rise either, even with the pistol, because if you watch it, he actually got pretty close to hitting a face shot, and that's all it would have taken with that pistol.
Again, losing
lost the buck, they're forced to use breach charges now.
Exactly. So on top of that, at least the Jaeger's been killed, so you don't have to worry about anybody inside of blue, at least normally. So you can still go for the regular strategy if you're a G2, and with defense, specifically on this site, the more numbers there are, the more likely it is for you to win overall, just because of the amount of choke points that the attackers have to walk through. And if you're able to thin numbers early on, it's way easier to just walk in and go for a plant without the defense being able to even do anything against you, which is what happened, early on in this match.
Well, again, time dwindling low. They still have to worry about shields and the ability to try and get some kind of advantage position here. That shield, especially right now that you see Aces playing on, could be a problem. But Citizens takes down Rips. That's a great start to this push. Plant goes down from Pengu as well, and a great flank coming out from Aces.
Uno's last alive, though. He can watch this. All he has to do and all he can do is to watch. Is there anybody running up to deal with him? That's the big question. They might be pushing in. The rotation actually won't help them out. Oh, they're right around the corner. Perfectly done. The Legion of Aces understood it perfectly. They don't know that Pengu's down. This is Pro League settings. You don't know if he's down. And just going to walk on in and find him on the floor. Yeah, he's down. It's confirmed. Corey is going to fire off a few bullets, a few shells to confirm it. Yeah, okay, test out that control key. It's working well. Corey is going to shut it down. The diffuser out, and yeah, we sit pretty at the half. Well done from Rogue, I have to say. They're really fighting back.
Yeah, a nice 3-3 scoreline. Seems appropriate with how close these teams were the last time they played each other on it. Obviously, G2's a little bit of a different team now, but still. Both teams showing a lot of potential. This is overall a defender-sided map. We saw that with the stats and Invitational as well. So, That was then, if you consider that a pretty good half from G2, especially with the Maverick band and having to deal with Wamai, I'd say overall that was pretty good for them. If they can do as well on defense here as they did on offense in that regard, then they could come out with one extra point that they need to bring this to a 7-5 conclusion.
Being defused by attackers.
So now,
Bring
what's the
pulse.
strat?
It's definitely going to be having Citizen play a little bit more flexibly and slow down their drone, but a lot of C4 here available. You've got Uno on the Pulse with C4, the Butte with C4 with Virtue, Kanto with C4 as well. They really want to know when those players, especially in Kitchen, are trying to push. They did bring a buck though, so Corey's going to be able to open up the floor. But overall, I imagine Rogue's attack strat's going to be relatively the same as what we saw from G2. And G2 might actually go with a bit of a roam strat with the new Mozzie Castle SSG-style strat that we saw also come out from Rogue. So it's definitely going to be a question whether or not they can pull it off as well as Rogue did. It is a tricky one in the sense of being able to successfully rotate back without either taking too many gunfights that you end up dying, or just not delaying enough time before you're forced to fall back. So it is not like a super easy defense to pull off. You still got to know your timing well. You've got to communicate well, have good intel. They have, I believe, at least one bulletproof camera plus the pulse. So they should be able to pull this off on defense.
Yeah, and let's be honest there, Enzo. Pulling 3 rounds on attack on this half is not too shabby. And Uno starting off is a first kill on Rips at Zofia. You're really gonna need her to, burn utility. There's no ADSs, so you would have had a lot more to actually, do and as an effect.
Plus, it was a pulse opening pick on a Zofia. That's pretty, uncommon.
Yeah, so in the end, it works out well. Of course, this is kind of a bait and switch type of play from G2. So they're splitting between the two sites. They're putting their players in completely different angles than the usual. But you got to be careful right now. And Corey, so close to getting the pick, is actually going to throw a grenade all the way down the hallway. Not going to do anything, but Hicks at least is going to take the time to shut down Virtue. Now, if you're Rogue, it is all about stopping rotations back onto the site because it's flimsy. There is not much utility that you can see, not even the walls that have been fully reinforced because you were sacrificing to play on top.
Definitely something that could cost them here. Uno not even able to play as safely as you normally would, but Kanto at least taking down aces will put them still at the man advantage here. As I say that, of course, Uno gets traded back.
Yeah, Corey so close to finding one as Rez is going to walk on in and go for the plant, and yeah, he'll be successful. There's basically no drones left now for the attackers. If most of them you've seen are either deployed or destroyed. Hicks is going to take down Pengu. And it's left on 2, and Citizen Cantor Ricchetti to try to bring this one back. There's the push, damage done, but Citizen will still be alive. Unfortunately, the Thermite was looking the long way, and no, Hicks! The bullets hitting everywhere but where they're supposed to. And behind Black Box, you're pretty safe. Cantor Ricchetti, no, that will turn it into a 1v1. They're close to full HP, both of them going for the gunfight. The Thermite walks the other way and Rise outgunning Cantor Ricchetti. It's all about positioning. And when you head and use that bomb chassis to your advantage, as you see here from Rise, it's all doable. Between here and Black Box, you're sitting safe and pretty. And the Thermite will win it. Rogue will take a round on the attack. So far, a mirror. Devin.
I really like how quickly Rogue took that. That's a defense that's all about burning time. So what did they do? They took the middle floor and the bottom floor very quickly and just cut off rotations back. I mean, obviously they didn't completely secure it as well as you'd like, but it was enough to get the plant down. As you said, they had to compromise some of their defense downstairs to be able to play the middle floor and top. And because of that, they were able to exploit that on a push downstairs. Almost had a Cali pick there, but nope, 6 picked off up to the Thatcher. Similar operator choice in a sense, but that is for cash. That is the one site I could definitely see it Cali being used for if Thatcher was banned. But of course, since he's not, as you mentioned earlier, he's going to get played. We are going to see no Cud come out from G2. We saw it from Rogue both times, or I think every time they defend a cache, yeah, both times. So it is interesting that they're not going with that. It is useful to have Bandit and Kaed for this bomb site. But hey, we'll see how G2 are able to hold it off here. They definitely are playing with, all year 1 operators, keeping it old school.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the Kaed. He's always being brought. The whole strategy was to be able to run everything with the Wamai and the Jaeger, right? So that strategy on its own, just by bringing the bandit and the cotton, you're gonna lose it eventually.
Attackers must locate.
But you bring the Wamai, and I keep trying to call him Wami, but between the Wamai and the Jaeger, it gives you a lot more flexibility. But you saw the Wamai that's being played inside of Garage, so it's all about the discs being thrown correctly into position. This was all when Rogue were on the defense, though, and G2 are running, more of a, I guess, a squishy lineup. There's no operators except for the smoke, maybe, where you're thinking, okay, these are the guys that are spending all their time on the site. There's no Maestro that could be brought, anything like that. So, yeah, it's all squishy people, no ACOGs, none of the such. There's the Thermite going in for the shot, and Uno is going to be stunned for just a moment. Yeah, he's going to let it go. Hicks is giving all the information. Second stun will come out from Rips. This is how you time things right. And the wall is going to be open at 2 minutes and 7 seconds left. This is efficient timing from Rogue, to say the least.
Yeah, it's weird that not only would they not go with the Wamai and the Goyo to be able to hold things off, they won't even fight the wall very heavy to contest it. So they definitely are really counting on their ability to play flexibly inside the site, as well as this play here inside the bathroom and bedroom area.
Zofia's waiting and watching. And somebody goes for runouts. You have to clear Garage right now. If you can do that, then you're set to go. And because this is an attack that's going to be focused on server, Hicks can afford to use his Kairos to pressure Garage. And the Jaeger is going to be spotted. Might be the moment now for the Buck to move in. It doesn't have to actually assault personally, just push the Jaeger back and keep the pressure the whole time. As long as you keep this Buck alive, all is well. The Jaeger goes in and peeks at the right moment, but is unable to fire in, and there's the confirmation. Garage is pretty much empty, and you can just walk in relatively safe, but Citizen is going to find Rise. There's Aces with a refrag, though, onto Virtue. How is he already inside of the site? There's nobody to contest. That's the entire question there. Citizen is on the floor. The Valkyrie is sitting down in construction. And the attackers have somehow turned into the defense themselves. They're already inside. There's nobody to pressure. Literally nobody on site. Nitro from away. And it's going to just stale and do nothing. Pengu will find Corey and Aces so close to getting that diffuser down. Is there anybody from below to try and stop him? They're firing in, but that's not the exact location. But as he goes through, he's going to get tagged and dropped right at the window. Hicks with the refract, though, on a Pengu. Aces is still down. Hicks is going to try to run back maybe to support his teammate, but it's all on to Uno. Citizen and Kenta Roketi are down. We've had so many DBNOs today. And there's Rise with the confirmation. Citizen's down. Uno's going to try to stick it. They have the information. They should go for it. They're going to go for the assault. 2 angles to watch, and there it is. Hicks with the last kill on the Bearing 9 and Uno. Now that's Rogue again ahead. They're fighting back. They're fighting strong. And G2 are finding it a bit difficult now to fight against this flexibility and multi-pronged assault from Rogue.
I definitely think Rogue's defense on Cash was quite a bit better, especially utility-wise. You saw G2 just really do very little to contest really any taking of the site and just try and play for retake, but there's so limited positions you can retake from, similar to Jim. It's really difficult to be able to do much with that. You set yourself up in a position like that, you're going to be fighting probably a lot of losing battles, and while it was a good effort from Uno at the end there's very little G2 could do. I don't think their defensive setup was all that great. We'll see them try a different one, though, thankfully, this round.
The super team having a bit of trouble in their debut. And again, they're high up G2 already in the online season, and Rogue are sitting pretty at number 1. So once you hit 6 here, it means that the most that can happen to you is you tie for first place, and even then you have the advantage against every other team. There might not be finals for this Pro League season, which have unfortunately been canceled, but Rogue's going to have a big chunk of change by the end of this Pro League season if they're able to stay number 1.
Well, the way they're playing so far, I definitely think that's possible. I mean, it wasn't the best first half, but the fact that they came into the second half and already won the first 2 rounds, that's a pretty strong start. Plus, they're showing they're already comfortable using Wamai. Something we'll have to see if Uno's is comfortable doing. But I think that's important to have comfortability with the new operators early on. Means not only are you going to be good at being able to play them later on as you continue to develop skill with them, but also you'll be more apt to know how to counter them because you're going to know the quirks of the operator a lot better. I think it's important to really embrace the new stuff as it comes out, even if it doesn't not some kind of 100% strategy you're going to use all the time. See how long this wall lasts this time. Pengu going to be the one trying to defend instead of Uno. Uno instead just providing support with the discs. Pengu, you see him just patiently waiting for his opportunity here. Rips needs to try and hit the stun at just the right time. Gonna go for it.
Rise and zap. No, it's all bait. It's perfectly
try.
baited from Rise.
Here,
taking their
disc
time.
going off. There we go.
There's another disc that sets right close up to the wall that was just destroyed now. And the EMP, all timed. And Citizen takes down Hicks. That's okay. That's a pretty good shot here to start things off with. A long angle that has been used, spraying down into logistics. And Rips is downstairs by lounge and stock room now, trying to pressure onto the bandit. Pengu will finally be taken down and put on the floor. So it's time to open things up. And Rise believe that was the wall just opened from server. So it's available for Rogue to use. A lot of steps upstairs as the Zofia is trying to find somebody to pressure. But so far a bit slow when it comes to pure engagements. There's just been a few rounds exchanged from one end of the map to the other, but we're all slow and trying to pressure and prep for the final take.
Unfortunately for the Zofia player there, he didn't have a way to follow up on the Pengu too, and Pengu was just picked up almost immediately afterwards. Because of that, they're really going to be fighting a losing battle here. Unless they can win some good gunfights, if G2 throws some kills their way, but say Citizen or Pengu getting a little too aggressive without winning a gunfight, yeah, maybe they can win this. But right now, this is definitely looking like a G2 round.
Yep. Rips is going to go on up and use the repel to his advantage. Yeah, you might have numbers, but as you say, possibly a G2 round. Whether Citizen and Pengu still low on HP, it can change in a heartbeat. And there it is. Corey's going to find the entry on a Virtue. That is one of the full HP players. Grenade's going to be prepped, but do they know he's right around the corner? Oh, the Grenade's going to be bounced right up in the air, and even a Wamai disc is going to grab it in mid-air. Pengu will find another frag to leave it all on to Rips and Aces. It's time to push, time to go. 12 seconds left, and it's a Hail Mary fight. He's gonna find one. Where's the second? There's Rips to find it. They're gonna push into Garage. There's a kill from the Jaeger and the drop. Kantaruketi gets the last two. G2 again fighting back this matchup. I mean, today we're really gonna have games. Look at that target acquisition. Kantaruketi's definitely been training.
Yeah, this is definitely looking like a day of a lot of close fights here in EU. Obviously, G2 could slip up here, especially now that they've got to go to gym and end up losing. They're just losing one round already puts them on that match point. So it's going to be tricky. But nonetheless, that was a much better defense round that time in terms of having Pengu play the bandit. The Wamai from Uno definitely helped. You saw him pulling away the stuns and things like that from the drone hole. Very helpful. You saw even a grenade get caught. Didn't necessarily make a huge difference, but it might have actually stopped the refrag on that, from the grenade just post-death. But nonetheless, great round from G2. They were able to turn it around by just changing up a few things. And now Jim, for the first time, though, is going to be tricky. They're going to go with the Goyo and Wamai sort of thing that I was talking about that we could have seen from Rogue, where they play a lot more heavy defensive insight, and the Wamai definitely plays into that because you're going to end up stacking up a lot of shields into the bedroom itself. You really need some way to deny those grenades from coming in and just pretty much setting the whole room on fire. So that's where you're going to have to stack probably Wamai discs and the Jaeger ADSs, but you need to be very careful where you place those Wamai discs because it doesn't, delete the grenade, it just pulls it towards it. So you need to make sure that those are going to be away from Goyo shields so that they're in a position where they can catch anything trying to hit the Goyo shield, but not going to pull the thing right to the shield. So it's tricky, and you're going to recharge those slowly over time, so it's going to be down to just smart play from Uno, assuming he's been playing it. Like I said, though, he is one of the more flexible players on the team, him and Pengu. So we'll see if it pays off this round. But Castle definitely had to come out here. No Sledge, actually, from Rogue, so they're not going to have an easier way to open that. I got to imagine it's just going to be down to lots of breach charges coming out to clear those from both Corey and I imagine possibly Rips as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that there's no Buck in play. I mean, it's Rogue. We're kind of used to seeing them run a Buck pretty much every single round. And in my opinion, Buck is one of the most flexible, if not the most flexible operator you have on attack. He can do many things while also being super quick, super fast. So yeah, advantages aplenty. But there's the drone's going to be dropped in and put in a good position here. So it's going to give you information inside of logistics. Rips is going to set himself up as the wall has already been opened here from Jacuzzi. So Rogue are so far going down this checklist so well. And yeah, it's going to bounce on. It's the Wamai disc. So it's kind of weird trying to get used to the Wamai discs being used. Because you're like, whoa, this should have been a shot. There's the fire in. The IQ is already inside of the site. Being fired upon. And Corey's going to take down one. Immediately shot down by Kanto Raketti. Very close there, but losing the IQ to the castle is kind of fine there. Hicks, one more on to Kanto Raketti. They walk in right into him. Uno, what are you doing there? That's not the play. Aces with one more on the Citizen. And G2, the Hail Mary Nitro Cell does not connect. Right into bedroom. All on a Virtue now with no utility left. Bearing 9 control. When you're 1 meter away, it's going to happen. Hicks is going to take it. And yeah, Rogue just... They walk in and G2 just get over-aggressive when they shouldn't have.
I mean, that's what you get, right, when you build an Ash Jaeger main team, right? Is you expect a lot of aggression out of them. And honestly, a lot of Rogue are hitting their shots today. All the players are showing up. I haven't really seen anyone not showing up for the most part on Rogue. They're all kind of taking turns managing to win rounds. But Gym Bedroom, again, they can go church. I mean, to be fair, they didn't win it last time, but it is surprising they would try Gym again for what is, I mean, likely the last round.
Yep, likely so. In the end, Rogue can walk away with 3 points pretty easily. The only way to survive for G2 is to come back and tie it. That's it. Nothing else. 6-6. We got close to it, you know, but here it might be tough. G2 are going to go back to the same site, and I think the reason why you do this is because you understand what your mistake was in the last round, and it was just G2 throwing bodies when they shouldn't have. They just had nobody actually pressuring in office and making sure that that hatch is being held by the defense the whole time. They're flanking.
Yeah, that was really the big weakness, was the office, the logistics.
Yeah, and now you kind of try to take care of it, and things might look a bit more hopeful for a G2, but yeah, definitely advantage for Rogue in this one, no matter how you take it. Though I want to remind everybody, I know so many are so harsh on G2 because historically they've been a team that did so well. They won so many tournaments, etc. in the past. But this is a completely new team. It's all about trying something completely new to everybody in the scene. Nobody's done this sort of thing before at this high level. And, well, it's time for it. Nobody gets relegated now. Try it out. Give them time, though, if you're a fan. If you're not, I think it's too early. Same thing at the start of a season. Give it time. Give people time to prep. By the end of this season, though, we're going to be pretty harsh when people make mistakes. That's for sure.
Absolutely, especially on G2.
Well, there's the entry again. Pretty much mirror as we saw in the last round. However, there's somebody holding on construction to logistics from the defense of G2.
Well, you see at least some ADS being cleared, but they're going to have those Wamai discs to back that up. Some of those could get cleared by the Thatchers on the roof. That's going to be the big help, is being able to spot those discs as well from Corey, to be able to identify what those discs are, because they're usually going to be in sneaky spots. So you see a lot more Thatcher being used from the outside here to avoid being caught by those.
No, all the castle barricades are going to be destroyed. There's one player behind the engine there. Just going to stick it and leave this Pengu still sitting inside. Yeah. Continue in, open up the wall in Jacuzzi. You got time to go through all of this, and you give yourself yet another angle as Hicks is going to be using his Kairos to open a floor level hole. So that's a long angle that can be used and can't be used against you. It's at least going to allow the Thermite to walk in, destroy the wall. You waiting for info? No, there it is. Gonna set himself up for it as Rogue are losing drones left and right. We can see it all over our UI. We're left with little info to play over, and there's Pengu. He swings wide and he finds Hicks. A good entry, but he takes a lot of damage in the meantime.
Definitely much better defense here this time from G2. There's still time left for Rogue to make happen, but this push is a bit slow here coming out, as G2 are doing a great job holding their positions and angles in ways that it seems like Rogue can't find. They did manage to clear some utility with those statues from the outside, but again, with no points notification, you don't necessarily know what you even cleared without IQ to verify it for you. A lot of pre-fires coming out, though, hoping to catch members of G2, but look at them just all lined up there, taking advantage of their shields, in great positions to capitalize on this. Rise pushing pretty much into the bee's nest here. Managed to find actually 2 out of it. How did he pull that off?
Uno's gonna take down one more, and Rise is so close, but the Goyo shield is popped. Uno's gonna outplay Rise. Wonderfully done. It's Kuro Corey will get one more. That's a coolio play right there. He's checking for Valve cams, and indeed he'll be able to find one. He's got little time left here to pick up the diffuser and go for the plant, and Jim is the best place for you to do so. Going in for the plant, and they're going to try to walk on right into Corey. 1 second left, and Uno, yet another kill secured. Uno, the 200 IQ play here on the wall. My man, popping that Goyo shield was definitely the play.
Yeah, it definitely helped make sure he could finish that kill. And it's looking pretty good here for G2 to possibly tie this up. This is a very exactly the same situation we ended up in last match, in the sense of we have a comeback to kind of bring it to a 6-5 for the final round. But a little bit different in that we don't have a 6-0 sweep first for the comeback, as G2 had a pretty good first half. And they might have a similar second half if they could pull off this round. But this is not looking great for G2, obviously, in the sense that they're not going to be able to get 3 points. The best they could do is 1 point. But considering the struggles they've had this season, I think 1 point's better than nothing, that's for sure, in terms of making sure they don't sit at the bottom. Of course, without relegation, they don't necessarily get punished as harshly for it, but when you're a team like G2, you really don't want to be in the bottom 4, even if it didn't make any difference in money for you. We'll finally see them go back to church for only their second attempt.
If you're G2, you're praying right now. You know, this might turn into the same as we saw before. I mean, 7-5 for Rogue or a tie for G2. No matter what, Rogue will walk away with 1 point. If you're Rogue, you look for a W, you get yourself even more ahead than the usual. That's the strategy.
Well, this is the best bomb site too, so it is surprising that they took so long to go back to it. Every bomb site they played, they would lose the first time, and then win the second time. So, you know, they played cash, lost the first time, won the second time. Same with Jim. So it's surprising that they didn't try this a second time immediately after. They must have just decided they wanted to see how their other strategies fared first. But yeah, it definitely cost them in terms of being this so far behind now that they had to catch back up just to get to a tie. Decent lineup though to be able to deny some entry here. Of course, you've got denying some of the drones with the Mozzie, especially if they try and drone down that tunnel. There's probably very likely one near the door. And then of course, you've got the Kaid to be able to try and deny the hatches. But they have both Heartbreacher, Thatcher, the ability to spot any electric claw positions from the IQ. They're going to look for those cams. We've seen that twice now where they're checking for those cams in that position, so I don't think those cameras are really all that effective. However, this is Rogue, a team that's known to leave default cams up, so hey, might as well even use default Docker cam positions, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to do whatever you can, and there's the Habana using the X-Kairos. They're not enough, you need more of those. And you're going to be able to open the hatch. No, it was an impact. Did it work? Yes, it did.
Wow,
perfectly done.
Really well done. He tried his heart out to get that hatch open too.
I mean, that's pretty much all your utility. There's one more left here, one set of X-Kairos to be used. So, yeah, you're kind of running out of options. Rise, does he have anything to use as well later on? It's another question to have. Maybe it'll be a walk-in into the armory, but without support from the hatch, it makes things way more complicated for an armory take. So, Hibana's going to turn around as the final thermite charge is going to be used here to open up the drop into Moto. Flashbang's thrown in as there's the IQ firing on down, full auto, and yeah, smoke through the wall. It happens, taking a bit of damage, slowing things down. Thatcher charge, EMP thrown down, destroying anything set behind that shield, but I assume that's a Goyo shield. Not too sure if it is, but then again, the Zorka is a bit too far away to do anything about any of that right now. Trying to stun the player behind blue in the meantime.
So far, this denial's working out pretty well. I mean, yeah, there's a minute left, but this is looking really good for G2 to possibly bring this back, because they've only taken a slight bit of damage, and you've seen a bit more on Rogue because of the damage Corey took from the smoke. Oh no, the overpeak actually works from Pengu. That should not have worked, but Aces at least trades it back on a Citizen.
Wonderfully done there by Pengu, but Aces is going to get one, and Pengu on the refrag again. He's making it happen all the way from downtown. Diffuser can't be set. There's little angles for you to use if you're on the attack. You have to walk in. You see the backpack, and that's the Vector 45 set up by the Goyo. One stun will be used, and then there's the headshot. Two of them actually for Rips and Aces. One player down in the meantime as Virtue will find a kill, and Rips will rip into Uno. Rise going to be able to set the plant down. And right now, Virtue, fortunately, is a bit too far. He rotated out into Armory from Church. He's gonna have to walk in the center of the site to retake this. Rogue, so close to getting the W at the end of the day. You gotta stick it, you gotta try and bait, and there's hatches for you to deal with. 2 angles to watch, not enough. Rogue's gonna find the kill, and there it goes. Rogue again victorious on the same map as before, and they'll land 3 more points, putting them so far ahead of their opponents.
Well, we definitely saw some potential there from the new G2, but at the end of the day, the consistent teams, the ones who didn't make roster changes, are coming out ahead. But that's to be expected on play day 1, because there's been limited time for these teams with roster changes to get used to the roster changes, which means the teams that were consistently doing well are able to continue to do so. But look at the scoreboard. Overall, a lot of players at or near double digits means everyone was pretty much showing up on both teams. That's why you saw almost a